Hey guys, what's up? You're watching 0 Point Gamers. My name is Connor, and today I have some really awesome, well, not too awesome because I'm not that good at the game, but Battlefield Hardline beta footage that I recorded over the last week. Have to say, I'm actually having a lot of fun with this game. It's okay. Well, basically, what I want to do in this video is just kind of give you guys my opinion on what I've played so far. And straight off the bat, I do want to say I'm having a lot of fun with this game. It's kind of revitalized my interest in multiplayer shooters, because to be honest, I've been kind of off them over the last, I don't know, year or so. But I don't know, I play this and I really do enjoy it. I see a lot of people throwing out the accusation that the game is basically Battlefield, the previous Battlefield game, Battlefield 4, just with a different skin. And in a lot of ways it is. Instead of, you know, instead of American forces and Russian forces, or American forces, Chinese forces, or whatever combination, you just have police forces and like a terrorist organization or a criminal cell, or whatever you want to call it. And in a lot of ways that's just kind of very, I don't know how you describe it. It is very much the same game with a different skin. It plays the exact same way. A lot of the features are the exact same. Even though the menus look different, they are all the same features of the menus, like the weapon customization, everything is all still there. So in a lot of ways, it is the same game. But that doesn't necessarily mean that the game isn't worth your time. First off, I want to talk about a couple of new game modes. You have one of the three game modes that you're given in the beta are Conquest, Hotwire, and Heist. Now, Conquest is just basic Conquest like you're used to from any Battlefield game, where you have to capture points and hold them to bring your enemies' tickets down, and eventually you win. So that's basic. That's a pretty basic game type. This next mode, which I like a lot, is called Hotwire, and it's an interesting concept. It's basically like high-speed mobile conquest, but instead of fixed points around the map, the points you have to hold are actually vehicles. And the only way that you actually get your enemy's tickets to go down is by driving these vehicles at fast speed. So it adds a new level to the typical conquest mode, whereby you get in and you're constantly moving. So it means, you know, you're being chased, or your enemies might set a trap for you on the roads. Like I saw loads of people using those mines that you can leave on the roads and stuff like that. Well, not mines, or breaching charges or something like that. And yeah, I mean, it definitely adds a new layer to the conquest, or sorry, to the conquest chemistry, we'll say. The final game mode, and probably my favorite, is kind of it's a subtle it's slightly like Rush that you're also used to from Battlefield. It's called Heist, and basically in typical cops and robbers fashion, the robbers are trying to rob a bank, and the cops have to try and stop them from breaking into the vault, stealing the package, and getting it to like the helicopter or drop point. Now, the thing about the game is you're trying to set a charge or a drilling mechanism on the vault in order to open the front door, or you can breach in from the roof, and that's kind of where it's a bit like Rush, where you have to plant a bomb or some sort of device in order to advance to the next stage. So you only have a limited number, as the robbers, you only have a limited number of soldiers that you can spawn in, and if you end up losing everyone, obviously you're done. The cops win then. So the idea is to try and breach your way into the bank, get the two packages. You have like 3 drop points around the map, I think, and you have to get the packages to the 3 drop points, or you have to 2 packages to any 3 of the drop points. And I really like this game mode. It's there's multiple ways you can get into the vault. It's very fast paced. There's a lot of tension because, you know, you're really struggling to keep the vault guarded, or if suddenly all your guys get wiped out of the vault, you're like, oh shit, the robbers are going to get there and they're going to take all the stuff. It's easily my favourite game mode I played in it. And it kind of leads into what I'm going to say next, which was 2 of the new gadgets that I introduced in this game. Now you have things like tear gas grenades and flashbangs, and a couple other grenade types and such like that are gadgets that definitely shake up the gameplay. But the 2 most interesting ones, I think, are the grapple hook and the zipline crossbow. So what the grapple hook does is, it's like spawning a ladder in. You can aim the grapple at any ledge, shoot it, and then there's a climbable point. And when it comes to things like Heist, where the map is very vertical, and like you can go on the multiple levels of the bank, you can go onto the roof, you can breach into the roof. That map is small but very vertical. And when you have when you have like the grapple, it makes things, it adds a whole new fast-paced feature to the game. You don't have to go inside and up the stairs or anything. You don't even need to enter the building. You can just shoot a grapple onto the side and climb right up. And I really love that. And kind of the opposite, the other side of that coin is the zip line, whereby in typical Battlefield fashion, you can hop out of off a ledge and you know, tap your jump button, and you'll you know, release a parachute and you'll float down safely. But that's really for descending slowly. But if you want to cross an area from, you know, at a large, what a wide angle, we'll say, on a wide angle, you know, you want to go the whole way to the other side of the street instead of just dropping down the middle of the street. You can use the zipline crossbow, and you can aim that off any ledge and aim it down lower than you, and allow you to travel across to the other side really, really fast. And it adds a whole other level of speed to the game that you're playing, and I just love it. I think it's a great feature. A weird thing is the vibe of this game. It's because you're no longer in a military setting. The game has been scaled back. You don't have tanks or large artillery units or APCs or even or jets or anything. You know, you do have a couple of helicopters and such, but I don't know. It feels a little weird because for me, Battlefield has always been the game that you play when you want large scale vehicle combat, and they've always kind of strived to have much larger maps to accommodate much more vehicles and then make it feel like a real battle zone, you know, like a real life battle zone. But because this is kind of around the cops robbers setting, they've had to scale back the amount of vehicles that you have, and because of this, some of the maps are smaller. And that seems like a bad thing when something they've been trying to do for years is just make the biggest, best maps. But in actual fact, it works really, really well. Because you use smaller maps, there's a heavier emphasis on infantry, and it makes the game a lot more fast-paced. You're not running for any long periods of time out in the open of the wilderness trying to get where the fighting's happening. And you're not like, you know, if your jet gets blown up in Battlefield 4 and you need to parachute down, you can land in the middle of nowhere and have to walk for 3 or 4 minutes before you see anyone, you know? And you can get shot instantly when you do. But in this, everything's fairly close by, and I like it. I mean, I've always liked being infantry in Battlefield, and I like playing the smaller infantry maps. So for me, this kind of fast-paced, smaller map, it's a bit more exciting, and it kind of picks up the pace. It feels a little less like Battlefield. It feels like Battlefield with a touch of Call of Duty, because Call of Duty has always had a much quicker pace than Battlefield. So it feels like Battlefield mixed with a dash of Call of Duty, and that's not a bad thing. I think the dynamic of the game works super, super well. I mean, overall, I've had a lot of fun with this game. I'm enjoying it a lot, but I don't know. I feel like my biggest issue is I don't know if it's worth the €60 price tag, or whatever price tag. It's 60, 65, whatever we're gonna put on it. I don't know if it's really worth paying €60 or €65. I enjoy it a lot, but it does seem like a scaled back version of the larger game, almost like the Vietnam expansion did to, I believe it was Battlefield Bad Company 2. Whereby it was an expansion to the multiplayer where you can play different maps in a different setting, and it worked really well, and that's what Hardline kind of feels like. I mean, obviously you're going to have a whole campaign with Hardline, but no one really, I mean, does anyone really buy Battlefield games for the campaign? I mean, first and foremost, it's a multiplayer game for everyone. I think everyone buys Battlefield for the multiplayer. And maybe they'll have a really good thriller type bank heist story or whatever. I'm not sure what the story is like, but maybe they'll have a very good campaign, very interesting campaign. But I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it's worth the €60 price tag. I think it would be better if they made it a DLC charged, I don't know, whatever they charged for Vietnam, and then, you know, gave it to you as an expansion on the Battlefield 4 multiplayer, because that's what it feels like. It feels like an expansion to Battlefield 4 with a different setting. But I've had a lot of fun playing, I'm not going to lie. It's a fun game. I just don't know if I'm going to pay €60 for this game when really it feels like an expansion to a game I already have. So that's just kind of my thoughts and opinions on Battlefield Hardline from what I played in the beta. Good game. Don't know if I'm going to pay €60 for it. That's really all I have to say about it. So guys, let me know your opinions. Have you played the beta? Are you a crazy Battlefield fan? Are you a Call of Duty fan that's looking at Hardline thinking, oh, maybe this might be interesting? Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you like this video, please let me know by liking it down below. And also subscribe, because I'll have more gameplay and commentaries and stuff coming up very soon. So thank you all very much, and I'll see you next time.